What happens when a lonely lawyer meets the woman he had just met over the internet? Is an escaped prisoner? Well, that's easy. You got this flick right here. Let's talk about Bringing Down the House, which celebrated its 20th anniversary this year. Big Days, Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 2003 rom-com Bringing Down the House, released by Touchstone, from Disney, of course, written by Jason Filardi and directed by M. Shankman, who recently directed A Walk to Remember and would also go on to do a few other films. Let me see. And yeah, and The Wedding Planner. He recently directed that, and of course he after this he'd go on to direct The Pacifier, Cheaper by the Dozen Two, and a few others. Anywho, now then, the film stars Steve Martin and Queen Latifah. Martin plays a lonely lawyer named Peter Sanderson who meets a woman on the internet only to learn she has escaped prison to prove her innocence. And then she proceeds to wreak havoc on his own upper class life. This film may have gotten mixed reviews, but this is a guilty pleasure of mine. I got a lot of good laughs from it. Anyway, now then, here's our story. Pierre Sanderson is a workaholic tax attorney, separated from his wife Kate, and often too busy for their children, Sarah and Georgie. Pierre arranges a blind date at his home with Charlene Morin, a woman he has been chatting with online. Misled by her photograph and description, he is shocked to discover that she is actually a felon who corresponded with him from prison. Charlene tries to blackmail Pierre into clearing her name of armed robbery, claiming she is innocent, but he throws her out after several attempts. Just as Pierre is about to meet with a difficult client, Miss Virginia Arnaz, he is ambushed by Charlene, who draws the lustful attention of his friend and colleague Howie Rotman. Agreeing to help expunge Charlene's record and let her stay at his house, Pierre lies that she is his nanny. Charlene is disrespected by Kate's unpleasant gold digging sister Ashley, but subdues her in a vicious locker room brawl, which that's probably one of, if not the funniest moments in this movie. Seriously. Now, Pierre takes Charlene to dinner, and Kate is upset to spot them dancing together. Returning home, Charlene coaches a drunk Pierre on winning Kate back, and they are caught in a compromising position by Pierre's bigoted neighbor, his boss's sister. Charlene helps Georgie overcome his struggles with reading, rescues Sarah from unwanted advances at a party, and guides Pierre toward becoming a more understanding parent. Impressing Kate with his new commitment to spending time with their kids, Pierre attempts to invite her over, but is interrupted by a call. To Kate's disappointment, he races home to meet Mrs. Arnaz, who invites herself to dinner and reminisces fondly about her family's degrading treatment of black servants, angering Charlene. A TV news report declares Charlene a fugitive, having broken out of prison, and includes security footage from a bank robbery appearing to prove that a masked Charlene committed the crime. Mrs. Arnaz leaves, refusing to sign the lucrative contract for Pierre's firm, and Pierre sends Charlene away. At the office, he discovers Mrs. Arnaz has notified the FBI and sneaks out to his car. He is threatened at gunpoint by Widow, Charlene's ex-boyfriend, who warns him not to reopen her case, but Pierre manages to drive off. Realizing Widow must have framed Charlene, Pierre returns home to ask for his children's help finding her. Sarah admits that she gave Charlene his cell phone, which Pierre calls and picks Charlene up. He explains that she was set up by Widow, who is likely at a club downtown. Pierre drops Charlene off at his house, saying he is returning to the office, but instead goes to the club, buying street clothes off of a passerby. Pierre enters the club in disguise, and Kay arrives at Pierre's house to find the children waiting while the FBI search the premises. Now for the ending. As always, you know the procedure. 5 seconds to stop this video. Go to the description box below as I count down. If you've seen the movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. Charlene calls Howie to drive her to the home of Mrs. Arness, who refuses to let Charlene explain herself, leading Charlene and Howie to kidnap Mrs. Arness and her beloved French bulldog, William Shakespeare. Charlene calls Sarah and realizes Peter went to the club, where Pierre attempts to blend in but is captured by Widow. Pierre gets Widow to confess to having committed the robbery disguised as Charlene. Arriving at the club, Mrs. Arness gets drunk and high while Charlene calls the authorities, and she and Howie confront Widow. After a scuffle for his gun, Widow shoots Charlene and the FBI storm the club. Charlene is saved from the bullet by Pierre's titanium cell phone, and Pierre reveals that he recorded Widow's confession on a boombox, leading to Charlene's exoneration and Widow's arrest. Having secured Mrs. Arness as a multi-billion-dollar client, Pierre and Howie start their own firm. Moving into their new office, Pierre is surprised by Charlene, and they exchange thanks for their impact on each other's lives. Kate arrives, and she and Pierre reconcile as his cell phone rings. He tosses it out the window, and they kiss. Downstairs, Charlene and Howie appear to do the same. End of story. So, what did I think of bringing down the house? Well, again, as I said, this is a guilty pleasure. I didn't know what to think of this, but this film proved to be a big success, despite getting mixed reviews and what have you. On a budget of $35 million, it became a big hit at the box office, being a #1 movie for 3 weeks in a row. It did well in the U.S. than it did overseas. It made $132 million here in the U.S. and internationally just $32 million, making it an overall total of $164 million worldwide. Anyway, the film got nominated for 3 MTV Movie Awards, but didn't win any of them. Steve Martin was nominated for Best Dance Sequence, and Queen Latifah was nominated for Best Performance and Best Fight, shared with Missi Pyle, who played Ashley. Which, of course, again, one of the best moments from that bit. It did, however, win Latifah 2 awards, one from the Teen Choice Awards for Choice Movie Actress in a Comedy, and the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Actress in a Motion Picture. Now, while its reviews were mixed, Rotten Tomatoes says though the cast shines, they can't save this comedy, which is overly contrived and filled with outdated and offensive racial jokes. Well, that's true and what have you, but some of those little jokes, well, racial or not racial, were pretty gosh darn hilarious. The score from Lalo Schifrin wasn't too bad. Now, as for our cast, Steve Martin, absolutely very funny as Peter. He is absolutely really funny. Next, Queen Latifah plays Charlene. I must admit, she was a card. She really sold the show. Eugene Levy, who I recently saw in the American Pie series, and of course he's been in numerous other things, plays Howie. Now I gotta say, he's really funny in this. Kimberly J. Brown, who you mostly know her best for originally playing Marnie Piper in the first 3 Halloween Town films from Disney Channel, played Sarah Pierce's daughter, and Angus T. Jones, who had recently appeared in Disney's baseball flick The Rookie, and later that same year he would go on to star with Charlie Sheen on TV's 2.5 Men. Oh yeah, and John Cryer as well as Pierre's son. Joan Plowright, British actress who I'm only known for a few flicks, most notably Dennis the Menace, played Mrs. Arnaz. Jane Smart, who you may mostly know from the early first few seasons of TV's Designing Women, played Kate. She was good. Missi Pyle, before this I saw her in Josie and the Pussycats, and then a few others. I later saw her in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. After this, several others. She plays Ashley. She's pretty funny. Steve Harris, who most people know him, the guy who played Eugene Young on The Practice, played Widow. And there's also let's see, Michael Rosenbaum, who you mostly know best as Lex Luthor from TV Smallville, appeared in the movie as Todd Gendler, Pierre's colleague and replacement. Betty White appears as Pierre's neighbor, Mrs. Klein. And she's pretty funny as well. So anyway, this film had an absolutely zany cast and a lot of fun moments in YB. Again, that locker room brawl scene was absolutely crazy. Oh boy, just wow. Yeah, and they were playing Simply Irresistible by Robert Palmer. Yeah, during that scene, that was absolutely funny. I got a whole bunch of laughs from this. So overall, Bringing Down the House, it's not that bad. I mean, if the racist jokes do offend you, then I wouldn't recommend you check it out. But well, as long as you're not bothered by it, I'd say go for it. This is a recommendation. I'd say go for it. Maybe give it a one-time watch. That just depends. If you're into real funny comedies, if you like Steve Martin or Queen Latifah, then this would be right up your alley. Bringing Down the House, very fun. I do love it. So what did you think of Bringing Down the House? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I bring to you, I hope, my TV log of the Wonder Years. For realsies. Alright, so if you like this video, consider checking out these other fun-filled vids. In the upper left-hand corner is my review on something really funny, and that would be the the R-rated film Forgetting Sarah Marshall from 2008. The upper right-hand corner is my review of American Wang, the third installment of the American Pie series, which actually came out the same year this did. Or if you would like some, but those are R-rated companies, but if you want a little more family type of flick, go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my spoiler-free review of the newest film Adam Shankman had just done, and that's Disenchanted, the sequel to Enchanted from last year. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.